Hello and welcome again to my channel. So today I would like to talk to you about the primary school in Switzerland, in particular again for the Zurich canton, since it is dependent from canton to canton. So the primary school in Switzerland, in Zurich, if the child is 6 years old until the end of July, then they start school in August, usually around third week of August. From the canton to canton, the end date until which the child has to be 6 years old can be different. And also, for example, in the French-speaking part, already the preschool, so already the kindergarten is called a school level. So what in Zurich the first year of primary school is, in, for example, Lausanne, it's the third year of the schooling system. There are also some differences in the books, but in general, the system is similar. So in Zurich, they start when they are 6 years until the end of July. And in the first 3 years are called Unterstufe, this is the lower level. And then the years 4 to 6 of the primary school are called Mittelstufe, this is the middle level. So the whole primary school lasts 6 years. Now in the first year, there are no grades. And then from the second year, the grades in German and mathematics come. And then afterwards, also, I think around fourth year, the grades in other subjects also appear. The English lessons, for example, start in the third grade, and then later in the German-speaking part, children get either French or Italian. The other subjects in school are music. So the first 2 years there is a music education as a special subject, 1.5 hours per week. Afterwards this is integrated in other classes. Then there is painting and drawing, also 1.5 hours per week. The kids have another subject which is called TTG that they usually really like, also 1.5 hours a week. This is creating things, cutting, making something from the wood maybe later, and similar. They have also a subject that relates to nature and people, society, and another one with religion and ethics together. They do not have in the first 6 years split to, for example, physics, chemistry, biology, geography, history. They do not have this split. But they have some of these subjects or some beginnings of these subjects together in this nature and society or religion and ethics. So the grading, when they start in the second year with the grades, they get the grade at the half of the year and then at the end of the year. And there is no rule on how many tests will they have. There is no rule on the homework. Some schools give homework every day, some give it 3 times a week, some schools do not give homework at all. So this is very dependent. It is also dependent on the teacher, how much information will the parents get. So do the kids get every test back home to be signed, or every 2-3 months the parents get together a bundle of all the tests. This is also teacher and school dependent. Mostly the parents do not have the information about the grade until this half year or end of year come. Also the child does not have the information about the grade, since at least in my experience, the tests are not there is no grade given to a test, but just a number of points. And in the grade itself, not just the test results come, but also the whole experience of the teacher about the child in the class. So did the child work more? Did they want more? Were they active? And so on. They also grade the behavior of the child, it's just a descriptive grade. So is the child on time? Do they work with other kids well? Do they follow the rules? And so on. In general, as mentioned, it can be very dependent on the teacher, And also what is interesting is that lots of responsibility is left for children. So it is expected that the children, if they are good in some subject, that they want to do more and that they ask for more exercises, for example. It is expected that they also guess their grade. So before they're given the grade, they should say which grade they expect and which grade they would like to have. So in this sense, there is a lot of responsibility that's left to the child. Now, after the 6th grade, so in the 6th grade, there is a possibility of taking an exam for the gymnasium, at least in Zurich. In some of the cantons, there is no test, but there is just a recommendation from the teacher and the grades of the children. But in Zurich city, there is a test and the grade. So the decision to pass into gymnasium, the long gymnasium in Zurich, the one that lasts 6 years, so from around years 12 to 18, it's taken based on the grades from German and maths at the half of the 6th grade. And then the other half is the test. And test is done also in German and in mathematics in spring of the 6th grade. What is not great is that most of these things needed for the test are not actually taught in school, not enough at least. So most of the schools, they provide their preparation classes if the teachers recommend the child, but there are also lots of private schools that give these preparation classes for a gymnasium, and almost all of the parents whose children do the test send the kids before the test for a few months into these preparation schools. This makes a bit of a distinction and it asks for a lot of support actually from parents, both in following the curriculum and financially in order to go to the gymnasium. Only around 15% of children in Zurich go to the Lang Gymnasium, and then a few percent more in a so-called Kurzgymnasium, a short one, which lasts for 4 years. So maybe around 20% of the children in the school system in Zurich actually go to the gymnasium. In the gymnasium, they have a so-called Probezeit, so have the probation period of around 6 months, after which, if their grades are not satisfactory or their behavior is not satisfactory, they are sent to a Sekundarschule, which is just a secondary school, which is alternative to the gymnasium. There are ways, so the gymnasium allows children to take a matura at the end, which is a prerequisite to go to the university. The universities itself do not have their tests, but whoever had a matura can go to the university, but especially the good university like ETH, they have also like their probation period. So after the end of the year, almost a half of all the students basically fail. So if they fail the exam twice, then they are out of the university. Now, what happens with the kids who do not take the test for a gymnasium or do not want to go to the gymnasium? They do a so-called Lehre or apprenticeship. And for this, they first take 2 to 3 years of Sekundarschule, so of the secondary school, and then they start basically working. They are first working in some small amount, maybe parallel going to the school, and then they're working more, and this takes around 3 years to obtain their Lehre or their apprenticeship. So around 18, 19 years of age, they can officially start working. So very early, a very big amount of children start working here. Thank you very much for your attention.